Hello and welcome back to the Application Insider channel. Today I am very excited to be getting back into my series of interviews with DI directors. I love being able to share information about programs, what they offer to interns, and what they are looking for in applications so that you can use that information moving forward as you create your own DICAS application. Today I am talking with Beryl Krinsky of the Komplete Business Dietetic Internship and a current intern, Pessie, who is just a few weeks away from finishing up her internship and getting started on the next step of her career. One thing I learned today is that the KBDI truly was created to fill a niche and a missing gap in what dietetic internships had to offer, but what students were actually looking for. I love Beryl's account of how she started the KBDI, and it's so awesome to see what it has grown into today and what it offers as far as opportunities for students who really are looking forward to a career that is in private practice, in entrepreneurship, or starting their own business in any way. Some of the things we are talking about is exactly what the KBDI does offer to interns, ways you can make sure that your application stands out if you plan to submit to the KBDI, and just so many other things that you can use on your own application experience, in your process, and as you are moving forward towards your goals that way. So let's get into our interview with Beryl and Pessie. All right, I am so excited to welcome Beryl Krinsky and Pessie, an intern from the Komplete Business Dietetic Internship. Welcome both of you to the Application Insider podcast and YouTube channel.
Thank you so much, Nicole. We're so happy to be here.
Awesome. Okay, so both of you, we'll just kind of take turns for this question. Beryl, we'll start with you. Could you please just introduce yourselves? What brought you to dietetics, where you are today, any level of background you've got in the field up to this point?
Yeah, absolutely. I've always been interested in food and nutrition ever since I was really little. And I was kind of like a little kid foodie, and I'd be grating cheesecake and telling my mom I was going to eat all the fried chicken I wanted and like all kinds of stuff when I was really young. And then when I was an undergrad, my undergrad was in food, nutrition, and exercise. I think that was the major. And I went right to become a registered dietitian right after my undergrad. And I've always been passionate about food and nutrition. And in that, I've always loved prevention. And so within my career, when I started Be Complete, my first business, I really wanted to empower populations with sustainable health and help them prevent disease and increase productivity, ultimately become happier people. And so the first company is called Be Complete, and that's corporate wellness. When I was starting that business, I luckily had the help of many different interns that were in different dietetic internships and master's programs. And I kept getting the same question. And the interns kept asking me, how did you start your business? And all these business questions. So going back about 6 years, I had the idea to start a dietetic internship, get it accredited, and in addition to the traditional dietetics, teach our interns about business. And so the Komplete Business Dietetic Internship was born, and I can't imagine doing something that I love more. And we have an amazing first class of our top 10 interns, and Pessie is one of our interns in our first class.
Awesome. So Pessie, what brought you to dietetics?
Well, it was like Beryl, something that I was always interested in. And I got my bachelor's of science from Brooklyn College in health and nutrition over 10 years ago. And then I kind of got into other things, and I had 2 children. And during that time, with my second pregnancy, I had gestational diabetes. And, it was difficult at first, but once I saw a registered dietitian and made the changes that she recommended, right away, I saw a huge difference in how I was feeling, and I was able to control my blood sugar and keep my child healthy. And that really inspired me to get back into the field so that I could help empower other women as well.
Awesome. Beryl, one thing you mentioned that I just really love is that the KBDI has come basically, kind of at the request of interns. Your internship really fills a niche that it wasn't just something that you just like, this would be cool to have an internship about this, but you're like, interns are asking me about this. This is something they're looking for. So I love that the internship itself fills a gap among options for students. Awesome.
Yes, thank you. We did some qualitative research when we were kind of developing the strategy, and did some polling of dietitians that have been in practice for between 1 to 5 years. And the overwhelming percentage was, they said they got a great experience, but the one thing that was missing was that business training.
Yeah, definitely. And there's so many students who, looking ahead at what their dietetics career could look like, are hoping for a private practice, their own business, something like that. So they are looking for it. It's awesome that this is a program that fills that niche.
Thank you.
Cool. Okay, well, that brings us right to your program. I hope I didn't jump the gun on any of my questions, but why don't you just give us a quick description? Where are you guys located? What type of program is it? And if it's not already obvious from what we've chatted about, what is your program emphasis?
Our program, our office is located in Turnersville, New Jersey, which is southern New Jersey. But that honestly, that's not that important because we're a distance dietetic internship. And it's super cool because our interns come from all across the country. We get interns from California, Georgia, New York, New Jersey. We're getting interns now from Maryland, Tennessee, I feel Arkansas. I feel like I'm missing some states, but it's super exciting. And we love it because we get such a diverse pool of interns, and it's also good for the interns because then they can stay in their geographic region, which is nice. And let's see, so our program our focus is entrepreneur and business training. And we currently we are a standalone dietetic internship. Starting in 2022, we already have confirmed one master's partnership. So we'll have a DI master's track. We're really excited. We're partnering with Middle Tennessee State University for a master's in nutrition leadership. And so we're working out a track that would be for interns that need to get that master's. We will still have the standalone DI track for anyone that already has a master's. And we're also in discussions with several other master's programs. So we're really excited about those options coming up.
Yeah, that's going to be a great setup for students moving forward. Everyone's really got 2024 just in the back of their minds and slowly creeping forward. And that's awesome that you're going to have those options available, but also for anyone who does have that master's, that you're not just going to like force another degree upon them.
Oh, definitely not. They can definitely do the supervised practice hours just as we've been doing since we've gotten started.
Mm-hmm. Apart from kind of all of those really standout elements you just mentioned, is there anything else that you think really sets your program apart from others, or just that makes it a good fit for, really almost any type of intern? Obviously, not every program is for every intern, but what do you think your program offers along those lines?
Our internship is different because we have that keen focus on business and entrepreneur training. And we have business plans that are tied to each of our distinct rotations. So our interns will create a business plan for clinical, for food service, for community, one for one of their business, which I'll actually talk about those business rotations too, one business, and then they'll do a final, we call it their go-to-market, their final business plan. They'll present it in front of a judging panel, just like you would do when you're starting a business, going to investors or going to a very, Ivy League MBA program. Those are exactly what you're going to do. So our internship does that. We have 8 weeks of business rotations built within our supervised practice. So our interns are going to rotate usually in 2 different settings within the 8 weeks. Oftentimes they will pick a private practice for at least 4 weeks because so many people are interested in that. Mm-hmm. And then the other 4 weeks can kind of be flexible. So we have really great industry partners. Some of our interns have rotated in industry. Like for example, we have partnership with the Orgain brand. Mm-hmm. Some of our interns have partnered with, worked with media dietitians, which is really exciting. Let's see, consulting dietitians, and of course, corporate wellness also. And then interns that really know they want to do a private practice will then do the next 4 weeks with a different private practice, potentially in a different niche or something like that. And let's see. So business plans, 8 weeks of business. We also have enrichment. So 3 weeks of enrichment. And that generally happens towards the end of the internship. And that gives our interns the ability to set the stage for their rotation. They'll develop the competencies, the learning objectives, and determine which preceptor, maybe someone they really enjoyed, they want to go back, or someone that they didn't rotate with, that they want to learn about his or her practice and get a little bit deeper in a topic.
Okay. So one of the things that came to mind as you were mentioning that, I've said this before to many interns, is like, there's so much that dietetics covers. It's clinical food service, the option for private practice, research, community, all of that. And then you just like broke open everything that private practice, entrepreneur, like all these other things. For me, who's been in the profession for almost 12 years now, like you just expanded it by like another full circle. So I love the just the increase in opportunity that everything you just listed off gave even to me. And so interns who are looking for really what dietetics has to offer, they're going to be able to find some of those more niche elements of it within your internship, which I think is great.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really excited about it. And as COVID restrictions, fingers crossed, hopefully things start to lift and open up. We're already bringing on really exciting new industry partners for our interns to rotate, and PR firms, and all kinds of really exciting things that interns can learn about and ultimately do in their career.
Awesome. Pessie, I'm going to ask you now, what did you see about the KBDI that made you really excited to apply? And obviously you matched to them. And I know you're almost done with your internship, but what about KBDI really impressed you and caught your eye?
Well, the focus on business was really important. One day I would like to have a private practice, and I feel like, I have around a month and a half, 2 months left, but I feel like I know the exact steps that I need to take. But not only that, I've already started taking them within some of the assignments in the curriculum. And also, I have a family, I have 2 children, and I wasn't 100% sure that this was something that I wanted to take on. But after speaking to Beryl and hearing how supportive she was, it made me really feel comfortable doing my internship with KBDI.
It sounds like you're going to finish the internship and be able to hit the ground running with, being able to move forward into your career.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So I recently added a question to my director interview setup of how you're preparing for 2024, which you actually totally already answered because you've got all those collaborations coming up with degree programs. So that is awesome. Let's move on to what a lot of my listeners want to know about, which is the whole application process. That's kind of where they are or what they are planning on completing soon. So let's just talk about some of the nitty-gritty stuff. What matches does your program apply in? And how many applications do you get about, and how many spots do you fill?
Sure. We're currently participating in both the spring and the fall match. And so in 2021, we're going to be participating in the fall match. And for that particular match, we can accept up to 7 interns for that match. Our program is accredited for a total of 20 interns per year. So what happened if we don't match all 20 in the spring match, we can then participate in a fall match and pick up the remaining that we didn't match. Okay. So then that kind of goes into, we matched 13 for our next class that's starting, actually they're starting in August. So that was the spring match. The number of applicants, we got more applicants than we had spots for, but there were a lot of things that happened with the past match. And so we ended up matching 13. That's just how it was. It wasn't the best match, but it's good because then we can do the fall match, and Pessie's in a fall match class. And generally the fall match, there are fewer applicants, and there are really strong applicants in the fall match. And so maybe it could be some career applicants or people that, for whatever reason, didn't participate in the spring, or maybe they did, but didn't find the right program. And so we're really happy that we can participate in the fall match also. Moving forward, we know that we're accredited for 20 interns per year. We anticipate we'll always participate in the spring match, and depending on how many we match, we might participate in the fall match also.
Okay. It's nice that you kind of have that fallback. So you're not just like, we did not only on the programs part where a program always wants to have a full class, but then you've got an opportunity. The right applicants weren't in the spring match, so
Exactly.
maybe they will be in the fall match.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, when you are looking at applications, what are you looking for that sets them apart? What are kind of the good things that really makes an application stand out for your program?
We want to see that the applicant has real world experience. That can be paid work experience or volunteer work experience or a combination of both. We appreciate someone that has a really great GPA, but that's not the whole picture. We want to see someone that has work, either paid or volunteer experience. That's important. We want to see that our applicant has some type of leadership experience. That's really important also. And part of our application includes a video, quick. We give the questions to answer, quick video. And we love watching those videos. That's probably our favorite part. And seeing why the intern wants to join our program, what he or she is passionate about. And they also answer why they're going to be a great intern. So those are all the good things. And then if, like, for example, if an applicant has spelling or grammatical errors in their application, we most likely wouldn't even interview them, because we want to see someone that is conscientious in his or her writing, has double checked, triple checked, that kind of thing. We'll look at, references also. That's an important part of the application.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to ask you to either like define or give some examples of leadership, because I know a lot of students are out there looking for leadership opportunities. That's something they want to demonstrate. And that term as a whole it feels directed, but also feels kind of vague at the same time. So even what are some examples of some really great leadership experiences you've seen?
Let's see. In some of our apps, some of our interns, whenever we saw that they had played a sport in college, we consider that to be leadership experience. Our applicants that had started a business, we saw that as leadership experience. Some of our applicants / interns that were either that had a president or vice president role on their either college or their local dietetics group, we regard that as leadership experience. And also, if an intern had held a job and been promoted within that job, we consider that to be leadership experience.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I mean, as soon as you say it, you're like, okay, that totally makes sense, but it's not something that someone might think beforehand or even realize they may already have that bit of experience in their past. So I think that will be really helpful. So you mentioned grammatical errors, which we certainly don't want to see. But are there any other mistakes you see on applications that you're just like, this could have been avoided, and it hurts to see it?
Well, it's pretty apparent if the intern is not passionate about our internship, and they don't really talk too much about why they're interested in becoming one of our interns, if it's very, very general, or if maybe haven't listed the name of our program correctly or something like that. We've seen that. And so that's also, we wouldn't really consider that a strong applicant, because they're probably not really passionate about our program.
Mm-hmm. I have a lot of conversations with applicants, and I tell them, they wonder, like, what if this, that, or the other, whatever, in my personal statement. And a lot of times it just boils down to, like, what is true to you? It has to be genuine. If your personal statement sounds like you're just trying to say what you think this program wants to read because that matches their emphasis, or it's a phrase you found on their website, they will probably be able to tell that you're kind of trying to BS your way through a personal statement. So I like hearing you say that you're looking for people who really, have targeted this program as a good fit for them. And you look for that, and you can tell when it's there, when it's not.
Yeah. And we really appreciate when applicants share like a personal journey, something that they have overcome. It could have been a challenge. just, whatever. And then how have they overcome that? We really appreciate that. That also shows us that the intern really cares and is also vulnerable, which is really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so you are a distance program. And the big question that comes with a distance program is, what about the preceptors? So share a little bit about how you approach the preceptor situation for your applicants.
Sure. We always tell our interns that your very first real opportunity at doing sales is finding your clinical preceptor.
That's perfect.
Because with sales, as we know, as business owners, you don't just email someone and expect for them to say yes. It's that professional follow-up, the call and the email and the call and the email, and maybe a little LinkedIn stalking and networking and all that. So that's how you do sales. Now, with that being said, it is really, really hard. It's challenging, and COVID made it even harder. And so we started, even before we were accredited, we started putting together this big preceptor list of potential, whether it was someone that said, yeah, I want to be a preceptor, or from a listserv that we got, or a connection said, this is maybe a person that could be a preceptor. Just started pulling together all of these dietitians, their affiliations, their contact information. We continue to update it. So we share that with anyone that has applied to our program or is in our program. We share that with them. And both the assistant director and I we continue to network, and we help our interns find sites, find preceptors. Ultimately, it is on the interns because it is a distance program. So, that's kind of a good and a challenging thing. The interns get to design their own schedule, which is really flexible, but then it can be hard if, for whatever reason, it's just hard in a geographic region to find preceptors. So we will step in situations where an intern is just really struggling finding preceptors. Specifically, our assistant director will then help the intern kind of firm up the schedule and get them set up with preceptors.
Mm-hmm. I love what you're saying, because a lot of the chatter about finding preceptors is the intern or the applicant, whatever phase they are in when they're looking for a preceptor. Yeah. They're just like, I'm not getting the help I need. And every program is different in their approach to preceptors, but I love hearing that you are out there helping. And I can actually vouch for your assistant director, because I recently saw a post from her in a Facebook group asking for preceptors on behalf of a student in a specific area. So that is not just hearsay, or that's not just you saying you'll do it. Like, I have seen that happen. I can back that up.
Nicole, is not just me saying that. Literally, we are on the weekends, we're like texting, can you help?
No, it's true. Anyone working with the distance internship, the directors, the assistant directors, faculty, preceptors are an all year thing. I mean, regardless of when the program requires preceptors to be set up by the student, it is something that everyone working for the internship is thinking about and working for all year long. I can vouch for that too. That also reminds me, when do your applicants or interns have to have their preceptors? Is that with their application, or do they get it all figured out after they match?
We strongly recommend / it's required to have at least one clinical preceptor, and they don't have to sign the affiliation agreement, but just have the preceptor form as part of their application, because we want to see that they're serious. We want to see and that they're trying. And it doesn't even have to be for the entire 11 weeks of clinical. It can even be for half of clinical. That's fine. And then within about 30 days of orientation, we'll want to see more of the preceptor, the affiliations coming in. So the food service, community, if they need more clinical or a different clinical. For business, we actually recommend for our interns not to confirm that until after orientation, because we will have some of our sites come into orientation to talk to our interns. Our board comes in. Some of our board members are also preceptors. So then when our interns get to meet those whether it's the board or different rotation sites, they want to then do their rotations with them. So we kind of say, don't worry about business. You can get registered for that after orientation. And then enrichment, we don't expect our interns to figure that out until they're about halfway done with their rotations.
Okay, so it's pretty much a mix, as long as the intern, or as in the applicant phase, they're definitely showing, I am invested, I am I'm making progress towards this. And then there are some where it actually is better. Wait till you see what the options are and what
Yeah.
all is available.
Yeah, definitely. It's I know some people have even wanted to change their rotations when they've seen, oh, I didn't know I could do a rotation with this person. I kind of want to change.
Mhm. Okay, Pessie, I want to ask about your experience finding preceptors. What was it like? Do you have any tips for anyone who's got that on their to-do list?
Absolutely. It was difficult. They say it's a full-time job looking for a job, and we have to look for 4 of them. So, for each one of the rotations plus enrichment. So, as Beryl was saying, if you can do that beforehand and have that off your plate before you start the internship, then you are in a much better place. And, it was a lot of persistence. And I think what helped me the most was networking.
Mhm. Yeah, awesome. Um, this question actually also goes to Pessie. Now that you're an intern and you've got a number of rotations kind of behind you and you're almost finishing up, what would you say to anyone who is matching to either KBDI or any program really? What will help an intern be successful? First, let's talk about like specifically KBDI. What's really helped you succeed in your internship so far?
I think being organized and constantly referring to the curriculum and checking things off was extremely helpful. And the curriculum itself, includes so many resources to view on it. And reviewing those resources really helped me feel prepared and confident. Like even before, we had one assignment to observe an interview during our food service rotation. And I remember there was this article about how to conduct a great interview. I think it was from Wired, and that was part of the curriculum. And I read that beforehand. And then just going into that interview, I felt so much more confident. And that was really helpful.
Okay, so use some of the resources that your program provides for you.
Exactly.
I love it. I'm just curious, do you know of anyone that is in a face-to-face program? And do you have any comparison to your experience in a distance program and what you've seen has been different? This is a question I'm totally making up right now.
You know what? I don't, I graduated a while ago. So my peers, they did this a long time ago. And I've been speaking to my preceptors trying to, get a comparison. And they're like, that was so long ago. I don't remember, for the most part.
Yeah. Sorry. The reason I asked that question is because you mentioned, being organized and reviewing that curriculum and everything beforehand. And in a distance program in particular, the burden of getting that done obviously falls on the student. Like it does in every situation, but more so on the student because you're not going to show up at class the next day and your teacher isn't going to, look at you from the front of the room and say, did you do the reading? So I totally agree with you that those skills in particular are really helpful for a distance program specifically. And it sounds like it's been working well for you.
Yes, 100%. I felt like I had to take accountability for the curriculum. I couldn't rely on my preceptors,
Mhm.
whenever there was a chance, I would bring up an assignment, or if they had a project for me to work on, I would look through the curriculum and say, oh, does this project fit into this assignment? And, figure out how to get it done that way.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that kind of ownership over your experience and looking ahead and not just waiting for someone to tell you what to do and what comes next.
Yeah.
Beryl, from your perspective, what characteristics do you think help an intern be successful in your program?
We can start off with what Pessie just mentioned, and taking ownership over the curriculum is going to tremendously help an intern in our program be successful because our curriculum is really detailed. It's hard. There's a lot to it, and it gives you so much of the learning that you're going to need to succeed in your supervised practice and then ultimately when you graduate and become a registered dietitian.
Mhm.
So it's that continual every day checking over your curriculum depending on which rotation you're in, making sure that you're reviewing the assignments with the preceptor, that you are completing your assignments on time. We do, because we're distance, everything's virtual, so everyone has a virtual Google folder that they upload their assignments to. So then really making sure that interns take ownership of that is going to truly help them be successful in the program. Let's see. I would say also making sure that interns are scheduling. And so let's see. So as far as keeping yourself organized during your rotations, when you're scheduling your assignments on your own, so you know when that case study is due or your business plan for your community rotation is due, put that in your schedule. And then that's going to help to hold you accountable, because we're going to ultimately check it, but we might not remind you within that week or even that month of when it's due. So it's really important to pay attention to the curriculum, figure out when things are due, and then schedule on your own when things are due. We'll have our class days between once and twice a month, and we will have pre and post assignments. Everything has a distinct due date. So that's, that's definitely, I think, easier to remember. But some of those curriculum assignments can be a little bit harder to remember. So making sure that you put that in your schedule. And I would also recommend, I think the interns that have really networked with each other, that work with each other on different projects, that have even done rotations together, I think that's benefited them from a learning perspective, from a teamwork perspective. And so, depending on the geography, if interns can team up with another intern, whether it's in person or virtual, I think that's also really helpful for getting the best experience.
Yeah, definitely. I love the opportunity that a distance internship provides for people to make connections that literally they probably would never have made otherwise, and that they can, cheer each other on and see each other's progression towards their ultimate goal. That's awesome. All right. So with every episode of my podcast or when I'm chatting with people, I like to leave my listeners with some type of action item, something they can do today for their education, their application for their internship, or their career. So Pessie, I'm wondering if you've got an action item you could share today.
Absolutely. I think in order to help make you a stronger applicant, one action item that future interns can do is volunteer. I know that I got so much out of my volunteer experience with Meals on Wheels.
Yeah, awesome. Do you feel like that's been a good source of gaining experience and skills that you've brought forward with you into your internship?
Sure. There's the responsibility and accountability and just dealing with all different personalities.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And of course, all of that comes up in an internship in a variety of rotations and working with a whole variety of preceptors and all of that. So those are some great takeaways. Okay, moving on to where people can find out more about the KBDI. Beryl, do you want to share social media handles, websites, email addresses, whatever you want to share so people can get in touch with you if they are interested?
Perfect. Yeah, so definitely visit our website. It's kbdinternship.com. And I would recommend, we have a forms page, which has some links to recordings, key forms, sample schedule. And then we also have a page on how to apply, a lot of steps. So those are really helpful. Our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, super active. We need more followers on Twitter. So KBD Internship. And my email is my first name. It's Beryl. It's BERYL at BKOMPLETE. And our assistant director is Kellen. So it's KELAN at BKOMPLETE.com.
Okay, awesome. Thank you both so much for sharing more about KBDI, your experiences, tips, suggestions, everything. This was so great. I appreciate your time so much.
Thank you so much, Nicole. It was great to talk with you.
Thank you, Nicole. And if I may, I would just love to give a shout out to my last preceptor, Dina D'Alessandro. She was just so supportive and, she just built me up and encouraged me so much. So I hope that's all right.
That's totally fine. Dina and I have chatted a few times just about various things. Sometimes we send people each other's ways. So that's a shout out I can totally support. Shout outs to any preceptor I will always support because preceptors are amazing.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. This is a really random question, but you said there's a lot of flexibility in your schedule. So are all your interns on their own schedule? That's how it was in the program I was with. Everyone was basically doing their own thing, kind of.
Yeah, it's a little bit crazy, but yeah, so they know they have like 11 weeks clinical, 7 weeks food service, 4 community, 8 business, 3 enrichment. They can take some, time off. We take off for holidays, but it's pretty much how they want to lay it out, which it's good, for flexibility. A little bit crazy for the directors, but it's okay. It's okay.
You've got students in every rotation all of the time.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Mhm.
I really think the question that made me think this was just talking about organization. Because I mean, like you were saying, students need to be accountable for their own due dates. And it's like they have to be, because as the director, you can't be like, well, this clinical assignment is due this day, because you've got students halfway through food service at that point and they haven't even been to clinical yet. So that kind of taking control over your schedule and your assignments and getting them done and all of that, like, is even more important in a distance internship that has that flexibility option, but means an
Mhm.
asynchronous schedule compared to everyone else.
Yeah, we're well, and Kellen, and so we're actually going to come up with some strategies because it is hard for the interns. We realize that. So we're probably going to be doing some like calendar reminders for them moving forward. It's more administrative work, but we want to set them up for success so that they don't get to the end of the internship and have 100 assignments still to do.
Right. Yeah. No one wants that, because you don't want to grade them at that pace either. You're like, please space them out. So, Pessie, how far into your internship are you?
So I'm almost done. I have
Oh, really?
around a month and a half left.
Wow, that's
Yes.
so cool. Have you had all your rotations just local to where you are, pretty much?
Um, well, it depends on what you consider local because
Would you consider them local?
well, my clinical was the one that was, the majority of the time in person, and that was a 40-minute drive. So, I feel like if it wasn't during the pandemic, I probably would have been able to find something a lot closer.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
during the pandemic, I think that was like really close. Like I was really lucky with only 40 minutes.
For sure. It's so funny how transportation times vary by location. I mean, I worked with interns here in Utah and they were like, I have a 45-minute drive. Are you kidding me? And then we also had interns in California who were like, yeah, it's just 2 hours away. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so lucky. And I'm just like, we need to like distribute the mindset to some other people.
Yeah.
But
So
When I did my internship and it was in person, I would drive 45 an hour to different rotations and I'm like, yay!
yeah, you don't think anything of it. You're just like,
Yeah.
okay, this is awesome.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, this is amazing. Yeah.
A huge thank you to both Beryl and Pessie for sharing their experience and their tips for other dietetic students. I should have mentioned this at the top of the video, but Beryl actually reached out to me about having the KBDI here with Application Insider. I had just finished up the series of student interviews that I had scheduled at that point, and I had made a list of directors to reach out to continue this series of DI director interviews, but I hadn't contacted anyone yet. Komplete Business was on my list, and Beryl reached out to me about joining me here before I could send anything her way. So it's just such a great way that fell into place, that I could host the KBDI here, that you could learn about what they have to offer. I feel like the KBDI truly is unique, not only in their program emphasis, but in the support they have for students, the community that they are fostering. And you heard just how well their interns are prepared to hit the ground running as soon as they finish their internship, with business plans underway, plans to move forward with getting their businesses started and creating the dietetics career of their dreams. I am so excited that we could share this with you. Anything that we chatted about that has a link associated with it at all is down in the caption. So please follow those to continue working on your own application, whether to KBDI or elsewhere. Follow the links to follow the KBDI on Instagram, to reach out to Beryl or to their assistant director. Just get whatever you need to make your application to the KBDI stand out.